She only wanted to swing a little longer before sunset. The park was quiet, golden light stretching across the grass, laughter fading in the distance. Then his voice cut through the air, sharp, angry, hateful. At first, she tried to ignore it. Kids are taught to shrink when adults get loud. But this wasn't just shouting. It was something colder. Something meant to humiliate. Meant to remind her she didn't belong. People watched. No one moved. And the man felt powerful, towering over a child who had done nothing but exist in the wrong place at the wrong time. He thought there would be no consequences. He thought she was alone. What he didn't know was that someone was already on the way. And when the truth came out, the entire park fell silent. 12-year-old Maya loved that park. It wasn't fancy, just a few swings, a worn basketball court, and a walking trail that circled a small pond, but to her, it felt like freedom. After school, she'd finish her homework at the kitchen table, grab her headphones, and head there before dinner. Her father always told her to stay where people could see her. Be smart, be aware, not because she was reckless, but because the world sometimes was. Maya didn't fully understand the weight behind those reminders. She just knew her dad worried more than other parents did. At school, she was quiet but observant. She noticed how teachers sometimes mispronounced her name even after months. She noticed how store clerks followed her a little too closely. Small things, things adults called misunderstandings. Still, she believed the park was different. It was open, public, safe. Families came there. Joggers passed through. It felt like neutral ground, like a place where everyone belonged. That afternoon, the sky was clear, and the air carried the first hint of summer. Maya sat on the swing, letting her feet drag across the gravel, listening to music and watching the world move around her. She didn't notice the man at first, but he had noticed her. At first, it was just a stare. Maya felt it before she fully saw it, that heavy, unblinking glare that made the back of her neck prickle. She slowed her swing, her sneakers scraping softly against the gravel. The man stood near the edge of the walking path, arms crossed, jaw tight, eyes locked on her like she had done something wrong. She looked behind her to make sure he wasn't staring at someone else. There was no one, just her. He started walking over. Not fast, not slow, deliberate. Maya slipped one headphone off. Maybe he needed directions. Maybe he was looking for someone. That's what she told herself. He stopped a few feet away, towering. His voice wasn't loud at first, but it was sharp, asking what she was doing there, asking where her parents were, asking if she belonged in this neighborhood. Maya blinked, confused. She gestured around her. It was a public park. She came here all the time. His tone shifted, harder now. He accused her of hanging around, of causing trouble. Said kids like her were the reason the park wasn't safe anymore. Each word landed heavier than the last. The man pulled out his phone. Not to call, to record. He began speaking louder now, performing for the small audience forming at a distance, framing her as suspicious, as aggressive, as a threat, a child on a swing. Maya's heart pounded in her ears. She thought about calling her father, but her fingers wouldn't move. A couple walking their dog slowed down. An older woman paused near a bench. They looked, but quickly looked away. No one stepped in. Maya felt small, smaller than she'd ever felt. She tried to explain that she lived just a few blocks away, that she was waiting for her dad to finish work. Her voice stayed polite, the way she'd been taught. Calm, respectful. But respect wasn't what he wanted. He took a step closer. Too close. His shadow swallowed the swing set. He demanded to know her address. Said he should call the police. Said maybe that would teach her family a lesson. Her hand started to shake. Not because she had done anything wrong, but because she suddenly understood something terrifying. It didn't matter. She could feel the crowd's uncertainty. Some people whispered. Some kept walking. No one wanted to get involved. The man smiled just slightly, like he had already won. And that's when a patrol car slowly turned into the parking lot. The tires crunched against gravel. The flashing lights weren't on, but the presence was unmistakable. The man's posture straightened instantly. Confidence surged across his face. He waved one arm high in the air, eager, triumphant. Maya's breath caught in her throat, because she knew something he didn't. The patrol car rolled to a stop. The man stepped forward immediately, pointing at Maya like he had just caught someone in the act. His voice grew louder, more confident, painting her as defiant, suspicious, dangerous. He spoke over her small attempts to explain, making sure the story sounded convincing before she could even breathe. The officer stepped out slowly, calm, measured, one hand resting near his belt. For a split second, fear washed over Maya. What if he believed the man? What if this became something bigger than it already was? She had seen enough to know how quickly things could spiral. The man kept talking, exaggerating now, claiming she refused to leave, claiming she was threatening him. His words grew bolder with every second the officer remained silent. The small crowd leaned in, tension hanging thick in the air. Then the officer finally spoke, not to the man, to Maya. His voice softened instantly as he said her name. Clear. Familiar. The man froze. The officer took a few steps forward, placing himself between Maya and the accusations. His expression shifted, not confused, not uncertain, but deeply disappointed. He turned to the man and asked a simple question. What exactly did she do? The confidence drained from the man's face. The story he had rehearsed moments earlier suddenly sounded thin, weak. The crowd noticed it too. Phones were still recording, but now they were capturing something very different. Because the officer standing in that park wasn't just any officer. He was her father. And in that instant, the power dynamic flipped completely. The man tried to recover. His words stumbled over each other now, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, that he was just concerned, that he meant no harm. But the energy had shifted. The same crowd that once stood silent now watched him with quiet judgment. Maya's father didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Calmly, firmly, he made it clear. His daughter had every right to be there. She had broken no rules. She had threatened no one. The only disturbance that afternoon had come from a grown man who saw danger where there was only a child. The man walked away smaller than he had arrived. No applause, no dramatic arrest, just the weight of public realization settling over him. But for Maya, the moment didn't simply disappear when the park grew quiet again. She went home safe, but something inside her had shifted. The swing set wouldn't feel as carefree tomorrow. The stairs and stores would make more sense now. The warnings her father gave her would carry new meaning. Because this wasn't just about one afternoon. It was about how quickly innocence can be questioned, how easily a child can be seen as a threat, how often silence from bystanders allows prejudice to grow louder. Her father could step in that day. Many others don't have that protection. So the real question isn't whether justice showed up in time. It's this: how many children have to stand alone on that swing before the world decides to stand with them?